this video we are going to be discussing a topic that I have kind of touched on in previous videos, particularly the one about the final exams, and the topic is I'm going to be talking about just university in Australia, where I'm from. Well, actually, you know what, let's say university in New South Wales, Australia, where I'm from. Even more particularly, the university that I went to. Well, we'll do both universities that I went to, but I only went to one of them for 4 weeks, so, and I kind of just want to discuss how, two of the things I want to focus on is the study, how it, oh my god, sorry, I had the middle finger up, how study works, how you get your work, how you do it, your assessments, all that, right? What you can expect. And then the second thing will be the social life, or lack thereof, in my experience, and the experience of people around me. So yeah, that's really all I can say, as far as, the intro goes. So, let's get into, let's do social life first, because it'll be quicker, and it will set a good, base, because I'll kind of discuss, the attitude that Australians have towards university in comparison to what I perceive is the case in other countries, because obviously I've not lived in other countries, so I don't know how it actually is. So I'm going to be making a lot of assumptions or presumptions. So if I'm wrong about any of them, I apologize. So yeah. And before I get into the video, I'll just say that I'd like to hear for your country how university goes, or tertiary education works, and how, attitudes and actions and, what's the word? Not traditions, but social norms, maybe. So, let's start. So, university, socially. The first university that I went to for 4 weeks, it was quite similar to the second one in the social scene, in the sense that it had your groups, your little clubs. I will say that the first university I went to was more prestigious than the second one. And it was in the city, so it had more groups, it had a wider range of, groups, and there were also some really specific groups that the other university that I went to didn't have. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I'm just going to guess it's because, in the city it's a prestigious uni, so more people are probably going there. Probably more money to fund all these things. That's probably why, right? Who knows? I don't know the finances behind the student clubs, but that's what it looked like. Yeah. So, I didn't join any clubs in at the first university or the second. So, when I complain about a lack of a social life, kind of take it with a grain of salt, because I didn't really apply myself like I could have, if that is really what I wanted, if that makes sense. And the reason why I say that is, a segue. In Australia, the general attitude towards university, it seems, in my experience, and the experience of my friends and stuff, is that we don't see, again, presuming here, in other countries, it seems like being in university or college or whatever is it's like a life stage, you're a student, there's a whole set part of your life, kind of. In Australia, it's not like that. Your entire life just goes on, and you just do university on the side. So that has the effect of, for the most part, there isn't much of a social life because people see university as not so much as a life stage, and something to like, what's the word? Like, really, like, involve yourself in, if that makes sense. And instead, it's seen more as like, you know, I'm going to these classes, I'm doing these assessment tasks to get a degree. Like, yeah, done, whatever, right? Again, that's how it seems in my experience, and from what I've heard online, and from what I've heard from my friends. So, I will just make it very clear that, like, the social life in unis, in my state at least, is pretty dead. I feel like if you do not join those student groups, you kind of have no chance at making friends. So again, I'll put it out there, I didn't make any friends at uni. There were definitely people that I spoke to, that I got along with. You know, we could chat about things and all that, but then as soon as you finish that class, like for the semester, there's a good chance that you just won't see them again, and there you go, done. Like, you will never speak to them again. It's a bit sad, but it's just how it happens here, which is why I mentioned the context of our, like, perspective on uni. I'll talk about how it's like structured and how the learning is actually done in the second part, and that will kind of give you an understanding of what I just said. In case it's different in your country, of course. So, groups, sociology. So yeah, because it's not really seen as like, because it's not like this immersive experience, that's the word, that I feel like it is in other countries. It's just really like people, or big difference in Australia is most people are commuters. It's not really a thing to go and stay at your. Also, sorry if you just heard a dog bark. I tried to speak over it and it only barked for a few seconds, so we should be alright. But anyways, it's not really a big thing to get up and leave your home and go and stay in a dorm or like rent an apartment close by to your university and have that. And I think that's one of the reasons why Australia just doesn't really have that you know, like that life stage thing of being a student, because it's just that lifestyle of being a student, because you're not really, you just go there, like you just get in your car when you have your classes, drive or to the train station and commute to uni and come home, and that's it, done, right? And because you're kind of so disconnected from university, I just feel like that whole lifestyle just doesn't form. It's not a thing. It's really not a thing here. So I guess if you're coming from somewhere like, I guess, the United States, which has more of a lifestyle, I guess, from what I see, or even like the United Kingdom, or I'm not sure how Canada does it. Honestly, I have no idea how Canada does it. But yeah, if you're Canadian, let me know. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, like taking someone from there and putting them here, they'd probably be shocked that it's just not a thing here. Like, you just see it in America. Again, I'm fully basing it off like presumptions and like American media and stuff like that, but you always see in their media that it's very much being in college is portrayed as like this whole like life stage, like, wow, you know, I've gone off to college. But here it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm in uni, like, who cares? And you know, they have all their like like social things in American colleges and stuff, but you don't here. You really don't. It's quite like, what's the word? I won't say miserable, because it's not like I was miserable in university. Like, I was fine, but it can be miserable, you know. Like, if you're in a, you know, new uni, far from home, like, no friends, you have no friends that go there from high school or anything, it can be quite lonely. Speaking from my 4 weeks, because my first university, I didn't really have any friends who went there. My second one I did. That's not why I moved, but I'll get into that down the road. But it did kind of, I can't explain it. It's like, it feels very, almost like hostile. To be honest, the word hostile probably isn't an accurate representation. I would probably say a better word would be cold. You know, it's not like anyone sitting there like punching on with you or being rude or anything. It's not like that, but it's like, again, my first experience, I found it cold. It was a bit lonely. It was like no one wanted to talk, like, at all. It's not like we all had to be best friends, but just no one was talking. And I fully get it. Like, we were all out of high school, probably very nervous. But I don't know. It just felt strange. And funnily enough, once I moved to my second university, I met 2 people there. No, 3, who moved from my first university to this one, and I had no idea they went to the first one. I never met them there, but I met them at the second one, and 2 of them, I don't think I asked, no, I did ask. I think all 3 of them complained about the exact same thing. They said it was quite like cold, and it was difficult to kind of talk to people. And I don't know if that's that specific university, or because, as I said, it was a more prestigious uni, so maybe, you know, it's don't want to be like rude or generalize, but, you know, like, maybe it's the type of people who went there, snobs. I don't know, really. It's not like anyone was rude. I really want to like put that out there. But yeah, it's just a bit cold, just because of the attitude that people have towards uni. So, and then, okay, yeah, no, I think that's all I'll say for the first section. So I had to cut a section out of the video, because there was a cough in the background. So I've kind of fully lost my, you know, my rambling train of thought. But I think that's it for the first category. So, with that first category done, let's go on to the second, which is they'll kind of morph together, to be honest, but it's more, the second section is more about, how studying actually like works here. So, at my university, so at my second one, actually no, we'll go through the first one, and I'll kind of touch on why I moved as well. The first university, I was doing a double degree, a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Business. So I took 2 business classes and 2 science classes. So both classes did not have any in-person lecture, so the content that you had to know for the week was posted on the university's education service, which was I know other countries do use this one as well. It was called, I think, Canvas or something like that. So they would post it. You'd just get like a video, and it would just be like an academic, reading over a presentation, and that's it, really. Yeah. And you got a copy of the presentation as well, so I would just copy the notes. But yeah. So that was the content for the week, and then for the business classes, you had a 2-hour tutorial for each class, each week. And keep in mind, you only take 4. So if you're a full-time student, you take is one full-time class is classified as like 10 hours of study a week. So if you're a full-time student, it's expected you're doing 40 hours a week. So yeah, that's 4 classes. So anyways, so at the first university, the 2 business classes were your 2-hour tutorials for both. So 1 2-hour tutorial per class, and then your online lecture for science, for my science degree. It was a online lecture. I think every fortnight you had a 3-hour lab, and every week you had a workshop. I think it might have alternated, so it might have gone 3-hour workshop, 3-hour lab, 3-hour workshop, 3-hour lab, or 2-hour workshop, 3-hour lab. I know for a fact the labs were 3 hours. So yeah. So the science classes were slightly different, and that's the thing. I'm not gonna sit there and go like, this is exactly how every Australian university is structured, blah 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 blah, because they're not, right? And 1, it changes depending on the uni, and 2, it changes depending on the school, like the whether it's the School of Business, the School of Science, the School of Law, blah 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 blah, right? So but yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So you can kind of see from that how a social scene can't really develop, especially if you're doing business, because you only see the other people in your class for 2 hours each week, and it's like, that's not really enough time. So that's all I'll say about the first uni, because as I said a few times, I wasn't there for long. Now, the second one, I did a Bachelor of Business. Why I changed unis? That was just because I wanted to drop the science. I wanted to only do business, but they wouldn't let me drop. They wouldn't let me change to just the business without then doing the whole first semester and doing those 2 science classes. And I just didn't really want to do it, and then I also just wanted to go to the university close to home. So yeah, it was mostly, I just wanted to go to the uni close to home. For some reason, lots of people don't mind the commute to the city. It's literally just 45 minutes on the train. It's about an hour given the time that it takes to drive to the train station. But I hated it. I just don't like, again, especially because the classes are 2 hours long. If you're doing just the business bit, you spend more time or the same amount of time getting there than you actually do in the class, and like, that just doesn't work in my brain. I can't justify that because it just feels like a waste of time. I don't know. But anyways, so I went to uni close to home, and I don't really regret it, to be honest. But anyways, so uni close to home. I did only business in this uni, and it was 4 classes each semester, and each semester, by the way, is 15 weeks long, and there's 2 in a year, so you'll do 15 and 15, and you'll have your first semester, which will start in again, this is just my uni, because I think most of them actually go earlier, end earlier and begin earlier, but mine was later. But anyways, you start at the beginning of March, you finish in May, I think, and then you go back for the second semester in July or August, and then you end in November, and then you don't do uni, and then you have your break from November to March. So that's the huge break. But anyways, that's how it worked for my uni. And classes for business. You have your what's the word, lectures online, and then you've got 2-hour tutorials for each class. And also, the tutorials are optional, you don't have to go. So, you can see how there's really no opportunity for socialization beyond group work. Because I will say, the only people who I really chatted to and got along with were people who I did group tasks with, and I got very lucky at university in that I think every single one of my groups were good. They either, let's just say the people weren't the best at the work, they were at least very kind, cooperative, they will help out, they will try to help, you know what I mean, let's just say they're not the greatest at it, at least they were nice, and they didn't just ignore you or refuse to do work or anything. In my experience, there's some people, God, who have had such nightmares with group work, but I got really lucky. But anyways, because of group work, those were the only real people who I was able to speak to. If it wasn't for those group tasks, there's probably a lot of people that I probably would have never spoken to, or spoken to as much as I did in reality. Yeah. So, as you can see, my whole point is there's just really not an opportunity to talk to people, because let's be honest, 2 hours a week is not a lot, and a lot of the tutorials didn't go for the whole 2 hours. They'd finish after an hour and a half, so you really just didn't see the people enough. And as I said, commuter lifestyle, you drive to the university, do your 1.5 hours at your tutorial, get up and leave, done. So it was just not long enough to really form any friendships with anyone, really. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And also, you're not really limited too much with when you have to do your classes. So, in my experience, as long as you did the prerequisites, it didn't really matter when and how you did things. And most classes didn't have a prerequisite, so you were kind of free to, put things wherever you could do it, as long as it was available for that semester, and at different locations and stuff like that. So my point with that is, because everyone could be doing their degree differently, they do publish a recommended sequence, just putting that out there, but a lot of people probably don't follow that, or whatever, right? Because I know a lot of people like to leave their electives until the end, which the university obviously doesn't recommend. But anyways, because everyone is doing different classes at different times, whatever, right? There's a very good chance you'll get in a group with people, talk to these people, chat along, and then finish that semester and never see them ever again. And it's quite, I was gonna say crazy, but it's not, the way I'm talking about it, you'd sit there thinking that I was crying myself to sleep, because, I couldn't talk to people, but it's not really like that. I personally like the way that it works, in the sense that that you don't actually have to attend a lot of classes, but you can still pass and do well. Some people do need to attend them because they need that extra help, but God, I'm gonna sound so insufferable, but I personally didn't struggle as much, so I could get distinctions and stuff, while just not attending and just doing the online online lectures. So I personally liked the system because I didn't have to go to class, but it does come with the caveat that it's quite a bit lonely and disconnected from your life. And yeah, so that's how it works here, really. And quick, just a little side note. Just because I mentioned distinctions, here in Australia, we don't do like A, B, C, D, E in university. We do it in high school, but not university. University, you fail, you pass, you get a credit, you get a distinction, or you get a high distinction. At least at my uni, and your GPA at my uni is a 4 is I think anything 4 and above is a pass, then 5 and above is a credit. 6 and no. Yeah. Yes. 6 and above is a distinction, and a 7 would mean that you got all high distinctions, which is obviously very unlikely. So, yeah, that's how it works here, but I know at my uni. But at other universities in the state, they don't call it a GPA, they call it, I think, a WAM, a weighted average mark, and I think the number is different. So it depends on the uni, but I know that they all use distinction and high distinction and all that. So I think that's all I'll say for now. There's probably more that I could talk about, to be honest, but it's already been 31 minutes, but obviously take away like 3 minutes because of all the things I'll have to cut out, but it's been a while, so I'll leave you there for now. So basically, as I said at the start of the video, please let me know how university or tertiary education works in your country or your state of your country, because I'm just like, one, how it works, but then also the social norms attributed to it. You know, do you have the commuter lifestyle like we do, or is it more of like this student lifestyle? Is there a social scene? Is there not? Stuff like that. Like what I yapped about. But yeah, sorry, I just thought like I hadn't said that word out loud in so long. Yap. Anyways, so yeah, please let me know about those things if you'd like. So thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you